Shalom, everybody. Today we'll talk about this is the last halacha of chapter 1 of introduction, after a very long introduction with many, many different facets and ideas. And so this one is titled Shabbat, Peace and Unity, and it could be in, understood in so many different ways. But I'll just start with the peace part. We say Shabbat Shalom, which doesn't translate to good Shabbat, good Shabbos. It means that the peace of Shabbat will overwhelm us and not let us think about all the things that aren't peaceful in our life. Because Hashem never promised us that everything will go smoothly, even for King David and Solomon, who had the largest kingdom of Israel, and Solomon didn't even have any wars that he had to fight, but there was never actual peace and unity week long. It was on Shabbat. If you worked for it, then yes, and I think that's where our goal is. And so we also said that the Shabbat is the 60th of the world to come, of Olam Haba. And so we know we have a taste of what will be in the next world. And so the ultimate goal of the world is to be peaceful and not only not fighting, but also the understanding that we are all here for a certain purpose, and we're all here to support each other in that purpose. And I think it does have a lot to do with being thankful and being polite. Rav Hess wrote a very long article and gave us a class when he was still alive about how if I had to write thank you notes to all the people that made even just my breakfast uh, better, I would spend about 3 weeks writing just those letters. So he talked about all the people who grew the coffee in Brazil, and then all the people that trucked it and roasted it and brought it to here, and then all the grains and whatever else he had on his plate. And so even though they think it's just a job, but if we recognize that they're helping us, we understand that Hashem wants that harmony, and He wants us to enjoy life as much as possible, also without hurting anybody else. So that's how it's almost like a game. Like, am I really appreciative of everything that I have or not? So anyway, so on Shabbat we connect with the source of our life and thereby reveal that all creation has one root. Consequently, the world becomes more peaceful. The most profound opposition in the world is the dichotomy between the spiritual and the physical, between body and soul. When examined when examined using mundane eyes, they appear to be fighting and interfering with one another. Okay, so I want to go watch a baseball game, but my rabbi is giving a class. So do I go to the game or do I listen to the class? Right? That's a simple example about that battle. But if on Shabbat it is revealed that the body and the soul complement one another, for the soul brings life and blessing to the body, while the body provides the soul with a way to express itself with our senses and with our eating good food, etc. Therefore, on Shabbat we are commanded to enjoy ourselves both physically and spiritually through Torah study and prayer, and through festive meals and sleep. I'm just jumping a little bit ahead here, but on Yom Tov, the rabbis told us that there's an extra special commandment to be happy. So a lot of rabbis understand that even though we usually wear a suit and tie and a white shirt on Shabbat, that I should have another piece of clothing that will represent that it's Yantiv, but maybe a good pair of shoes or a nice belt or even a nicer tie or something like that, and that's uh, elevating ourselves to that level of simcha. Other forces in the world also find peace on Shabbat. During the week, it seems that everyone competes and fights over money, honor, and adulation, and one person's gain is another person's loss. This leads to a world of dispute in which the wicked, those who hate Israel, succeed. But on Shabbat, it is revealed that everything strives towards unity. The forces that seem divisive are actually complementary and can even cross-fertilize each other. Together they all long for God, for their life source. The wicked, clinging to evil, who seem successful when viewed with mundane eyes, in fact, are only there to inspire the righteous, and when they complete their job, they disappear from the world. This is the praise sung by the seventh day, Shir Shel Shabbat, Mizmor Shila Shabbat Tov Lo Adonai. It is good to praise Hashem and to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your kindness at daybreak and your faithfulness each night. So I'm not going to read the whole psalm, but our tradition says that that was the psalm that Adam and Rishon wrote, Adam and Eve, on the very first Shabbos when they were still in the garden, according to the Talmud, and they only left the garden on Motzei Shabbat, and so they were thankful for Hashem for creating them and for giving them this peacefulness that they didn't have to start working and looking for jobs, going out of the Garden of Eden, but rather Hashem waited until Saturday night. True peace thus has two components. The first is that peace gives every force and aspiration its unique and appropriate place, thus enabling each of them to achieve a refinement that shows that none of them are evil or at odds with the others. The second is that even pure evil has a purpose to inspire the forces of good. Once good has been awakened, the evil concludes its mission and disappears. There is no need to feel pain about the existence of evil, for it too has a destiny to fulfill within God's plan. And so I'll just stop here our reading. He's just quoting from the Zohar, and I don't understand the Zohar usually, but he gives one last example about the lighting of the Shabbat candles symbolizes this peacefulness. When one's home is dark, even if it is organized, he stumbles around in the dark to find their things. So according to the way that people used to live, the wife would be home, finishing the last preparations for the dinner, and the husband would be coming back from shul, and the house was completely dark, and so Hashem told the women to light candles because they bring shalom bayit. The person coming back from shul will not bump into all these furnitures, and he will not be upset, but rather they'll be filled with happiness and with gratitude to Hashem for bringing this kind of peace. Today, of course, we have electricity, but I still think it's a very special thing to light candles. Even fancy restaurants have candlelight dinners. They obviously have electricity, but it's more intimate, and that's what Shabbat is supposed to be, for the family to feel this unity and this understanding of peacefulness, and to sit together. So on that very note, I wanted to tie it to the parsha, which is not very hard, because when it says in the beginning of the parsha that Yitzchak loved Esav, but Rebekah loved Jacob, our rabbis tell us that it's not that Rebekah hated Esau and that Yitzchak hated Jacob. It's just that they showed more love and more compassion to them. And so the question is, why does Yitzchak show more compassion to Esav if he's such a bad person? And the answer that my father always gave is that they were supposed to have what's called Eskem Yisachar v'Zvulun, the agreement between Yisachar and Zvulun, which is mentioned in Divrei Hayamim and Chronicles, where the people of Zvulun were out in the ships, bringing merchandise to Israel and selling merchandise from Israel. And while they were gone, the people of Yisachar would be teaching their children Torah, and so they supported the children with spirituality, and the people of Zvulun supported them physically and financially, and so that was the deal between those two brothers. And so what we believe is that Isaac thought that if Esav could understand that Yaakov is the one who will receive the blessing, but he can't do it without the food that Esau provides and all that, it won't work. And so unfortunately, it didn't work. But somebody asked me today, why did Jacob tell Esav that he's going to come to see him in Har Seir. We look through the whole Torah, and it doesn't say that he ever went to Seir. And so the answer that the Talmud gives is the last verse or second last verse of Ovadia, where it says, "Ve'alu Moshiim be'aretz Zion lishpot et Har Esav," that when the final redemption comes, our shoftim, our religious judges, will go and judge the Mount Seir, where Esav is, and basically show them where they were wrong, and then there will be world peace because they'll understand that I'm never going to be, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, meaning somebody from Edom saying that, but I do know how to hunt, and I do know how to raise animals, and I do know how to provide food, and so we'll act together to make that complete relationship and healthy relationship the way that Yitzhak and Rebecca viewed so many years ago. And Bezat Hashem, Bimhera B'Yameinu, because it's getting worse and worse out there.